A man was calmly sitting and watching a movie late at night when he noticed something strange in the reflection on the TV screen.
Okay, so I'm just sitting here watching Scooby-Doo. You know, it has been storming on and off all night. You can see there is nothing standing over here, right? But look. What the fuck is that? Like, this is me.
Someone was clearly standing behind him. It's very visible in the reflection on the TV, but there's no one in the room. Who is it? Or what is it? And why does it only appear in the screen's reflection?
Like the satellite went out because of the storms, so it wasn't working on the TV anyways. And like, but there's nothing there. And like, I turned.
It was something standing completely still, as if holding its breath. You could see it clearly in the reflection on the TV, but there was no one in the room. The man slowly turned around. Nothing. When he looked back at the screen, the figure was closer, as if it had moved toward him, yet remained completely motionless. And then he realized, now it knows that he can see it. A few days later, this blogger posted a video on TikTok and said that he had to leave his house and spend the night in a hotel. It was because this thing wouldn't let him be at peace in his home and appeared every time he tried to fall asleep.
So, I'm currently in a hotel. Because something's been, at my house, and it comes out whenever I try to go to sleep. So I thought if I go somewhere else, maybe you can't find me. It did.
The man thought that no one would find him in the hotel and that he could finally feel safe. But this thing followed him everywhere. Wherever he went, it appeared nearby, always where he tried to hide. He realized one thing: there was no place where he could truly be safe.
This is my first time, so wish me luck. The explorer began by sharing the eerie history tied to the area, a place locals call one of the most haunting spots in England. After a short walk, he picked a clearing and set up his camp, unaware that his first solo camping trip was about to turn into one of the most terrifying nights of his life.
Right guys, that's the tent all pitched up, ready to go. How exciting. It's only an old tent I had laying around, but it does me okay. So nice and quick and easy. So we are waiting for the sun to go down now, so I just suppose I'll sit here and wait.
Setting up camp on the desolate shingle beaches of Dungeness, surrounded by the decaying remains of old fishing huts and the shadowy outline of a distant power station, the explorer couldn't shake the eerie feeling that hung in the air.
Absolutely stunning. Look at that. I hope that's not rain over there, because that would be just my luck. I was working on a church. I won't tell you what church it was. I was working on a church, and what we was doing was, well, it was me on my own, digging out trench through the graveyard, because we had to put in drainage, because there was you know, there was a lot of flooding and stuff like that, so we needed some drainage in there. So I decided to put in a 4-inch drain pipe with a gully which would take all the water from the roof of the church, and dig a trench all the way down to the dike. And anyway, it was one sort of evening I was there digging along. I dug up a lot of bones actually. I've got pictures somewhere on one of my cameras. I dug up a hell of a lot of bones. I even dug up a jawbone with all the teeth in it. There was like 2 teeth missing, but the rest of them were all still intact. It was quite exciting, freaky but exciting, you know. It's not something you normally see is like a human jawbone.
As he was recounting a story from his teenage years, he suddenly noticed something. A tall, mysterious figure in a black cloak, holding what looked like a staff, walking slowly through the dusk. Within moments, the figure vanished without a trace. The stillness that followed felt heavy, unnatural. Sitting there alone beneath the darkening sky, an uneasy feeling began to creep over him.
And I see this guy walk around the back of the church. Now, I looked around and I didn't think nothing of it. It was really close to me, you know, like, I don't know, I would say 20 foot away, something like that. And anyway, I'm digging away and he's walked around and he's wearing this cape, right? It's a black cape. And he had like, so it was like a hood, a cape that went all the way down to the floor, and he had a big stick with a bend on the end. Anyway, I had a couple of shovels out of the trench, you know, like you do. I looked down, I looked up, and he'd gone. Completely gone. These flies are a nightmare. So I was getting a bit freaked out, and it started playing on my mind. I'm looking around all the fields seeing if I could find him, and I couldn't find him.
The atmosphere grew heavier, the air thick with tension. Trying to shake off the unease, he retreated to his tent, hoping that sleep might drown out the growing unease.
Because there's not a lot else I can do. I think I'm going to get my head down because it's now 11:30. So, what was that? Did you hear that, guys? What the fuck was that? What was that noise? It sounded close to the tin. I've got to go out and inspect that, guys. Got to go out and inspect it. Got to go and check that out. That wasn't very nice. That sounded a bit close to the tent. Can't see anything, guys. I haven't heard the noise since.
Crunching footsteps echoed across the gravel, slow, deliberate, and far too close. He froze, holding his breath, trying to convince himself it was just the wind. But the steps were too heavy, too intentional, to be anything natural. Heart pounding, he slowly unzipped the tent and peered outside, searching for the source of the sound. But there was nothing. No movement, no person, not even an animal. Convincing himself it was just his imagination, he zipped the tent back up and tried to get some rest.
What was that, guys? Shit. Someone out there. Shit. Fuck. I don't know what to do, guys. I'm gonna have to go out there. Fucking hell. What's going on? Oh shit. I'm gonna have to grow some balls and go out there. I really don't want to. That was... That's shaking me up, guys. That's really shaking me up. I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm gonna have to go out and check it out. I really don't want to. I'm shitting myself. That was... I can't see nothing. Let's put it down there, guys. Oh, shit. Oh, we're going on to a look, guys. What the fuck was that? Absolutely shitting myself. What the fuck was that? I can't do this, guys. I can't stay here. I cannot stay here, guys. I really can't.
At 2:01 a.m., he was jolted awake by something or someone pressing against his tent. Then, without warning, the entire shelter collapsed in on him with a violent crash. A surge of terror shot through him as confusion and panic took over. He couldn't tell what or who was outside, but with his heart pounding, he gathered the courage to crawl out and see what was happening. Grabbing his flashlight, he slowly peeked outside. But once again, there was nothing. No movement, no sound, no one in sight. It didn't make sense. If someone had collapsed his tent and run off, he would have heard footsteps. But there was only silence. Uneasy thoughts raced through his mind. Realizing that staying any longer could mean real danger, he made the only choice he could. He abandoned his camp and left, choosing safety over answers.
I ain't hanging around here, guys. I've left my tent. I didn't pack it up in the end. I'm sorry about the head torch. I'm not turning that off. I'm not turning the head torch off. I need to see where I'm going and who's around me. Because, this isn't very nice, guys. This really isn't very nice. I don't know what the hell that thing was that come down on me. Must have been a person. Must have been. I don't see any explanation. One thing's for sure, I don't think I'm going to be doing this again. I've even picked up a big stone in my pocket just in case. I'm not happy. I'll come back to the tent tomorrow if I can be bothered. I don't want to come back here again, if I'm honest. That was scary.
Without wasting a second, he left his tent, stuffing his belongings quickly into his backpack. He didn't look back, just started walking toward his vehicle, desperate to leave that place behind. He escaped without a scratch, but even after reaching safety, one question still haunted him. What had been out there with him that night? The locals speak of unseen things that roam those shores.
Two women from France were laughing and fooling around on the street, enjoying the twinkling stars in the night sky. Everything seemed calm and carefree, until this happened.
On regarde les étoiles, c'est trop beau. On n'est pas bien là. On n'est pas bien là. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a?
As they walked down the road, the women noticed a silhouette. It stood completely still, radiating a sinister aura. Suddenly, the figure dashed toward them, and fear grew.
Sense of freedom that comes with them. But on February 14th, 2022, that freedom was interrupted. Lisa was parked alone in a secluded area, settled in for the night, when something broke the silence. In the middle of the night, she was jolted awake by unfamiliar sounds outside her van. Then came the knocking, sharp, deliberate, close enough to make her heart race. Unsure of who or what was outside, fear took over. With trembling hands, Lisa reached for her camera and began recording, knowing that whatever was happening beyond the thin metal walls of her van did not feel random and was anything but safe.
Somebody's back here again. I hear footprints. Hello? How can I help you? It's 4:30 in the morning. I don't feel safe. Who are you? So, it's now 4:57, but at 4:37, so like 20 minutes ago, I was in a dead sleep, and I was woken from a knock, like right where my head is, ironically. So I was like frozen. I looked at the time, and it was very strange to me, like who would be knocking on the van at 4:30 in the morning. So by the second knock, I believe it was second, could be the third knock, and they would knock 3 times every time. I just mustered, hello? And no answer. The person was on a bike, like a pedal bike, like a 10-speed bike, a mountain bike or something, and they were up the drive. And so I just came and lied back down and trying to register what the hell just happened, who was that, what did they want, what were their intentions, and all I could think about is they were probably planning on robbing what was ever inside the van. So I just kind of like went back to sleep, or lied back down, went back to bed, I should say. And about 15 minutes later, I hear it again, like a knock on the side of my van again. How can I help you? And they say, I got a question for you. And I said, it's 4:30 in the morning. I don't feel safe. And so I quietly got up and I went to the front and I peeked out and parked way up on the drive. All I could see is like headlights, and then they backed out and went and left. So I'm not feeling so safe, you know. I just don't even know what to make of it. Like, what were they thinking? I do sleep with this beside my bed, and I never thought that I would have to pull it out or grab it, and I did.
Suddenly, there was a knock on the window beside where she was lying, not random, not accidental. Each knock was slow and deliberate. Every time Lisa called out, there was no reply, no voice, no movement. This happened 3 separate times, each one tightening the fear in her chest. When she finally caught a glimpse outside, she saw the figure responsible was on a pedal bike. Moments later, it disappeared into the darkness. Relief washed over her as she convinced herself it had only been a passerby and tried to calm down. But the night was far from over. Sometime later, the sounds returned. More knocking. Footsteps again, closer this time. Then she noticed something. A car had pulled up far away from her van, positioned just close enough to be intentional, but far enough to feel wrong. When Lisa called out once more, a voice finally answered, saying that, "I've got a question for you." The words sent a jolt of fear through her. This was no coincidence, no harmless stranger. Someone was out there, lingering, testing her, trying to draw her out into the dark. Panic surged as the reality set in just how exposed she was. And just when she thought it might be over, the silence returned, heavy and deceptive, leaving her with the terrifying feeling that whoever was outside hadn't truly left at all.
I hear footprints. Hear that? Yeah, somebody was just here again 3 times now. The third time I looked out, they were walking on foot. I seen them walking and they hid behind the big tree there. And then they went to a car, the same car that was here earlier. Well, that was back, and then it backed away and left again. 3 times in one night. This time, they didn't knock though. They were just walking around. I could hear them walking around the van. But I'm not feeling so safe. Like, I'm just feeling like, I don't know.
The footsteps came back, but this time there were no knocks. Whoever it was simply moved around her van, slow and deliberate, circling it in the darkness. Chills ran down Lisa's spine as she lay frozen inside, listening to each step pass by her walls. She had no idea what this person wanted or why they were lingering so close, only that their presence felt intentional and deeply wrong. The rest of the night passed without another incident.
So I come out this morning and you can see footprints. Look at this one. This is mine. I'll show you. There's mine. See? right here, look, somebody spilled 2 of my water bottles right there. 8 liters of water gone, but I don't know why. I don't know why they were, look, see? And then over here, these are like literally footprints. I never go there. If I collect my snow, I go right on this path and I cross over here, and that's my spot right there. But look, they were actually, there's some more, look at that. They came here, they were standing here, as you can see. Look at the footprints though, look at that, that's massive. See that? Like, this worries me, like, oh my God. Yeah, this has me really concerned. Nothing's here because it's all melted already, but yeah, so, oh, here we go. Here's a couple right here, there and there. Here's, I'll put, there's my print again. Okay, there. I certainly don't want to be put in a situation where I have to use force, like where I have to, if somebody tried to break in my van, well, they would probably be the one getting hurt, because I've got many, many ways of protecting myself, and believe me, I would do what I have to do to defend myself, especially, you know, that was a trigger, and when I get triggered, well, you know, I'm not thinking straight, and so I definitely would not be responsible for my actions. That I know for sure. Like last night, I was seriously, not last night, I mean Friday night, early Saturday morning. I didn't sleep after that. Really couldn't. You know, when the knock first happened, the first knock, when it woke me out of my sleep, I didn't even know how to respond. Like, I was not prepared for that. And so yeah, but anyways, I always sleep with the knife open right beside the bed, but I do have bear spray, I have an axe, and well, I do have other things, and they're just randomly placed throughout the van. But yeah, but I just had to share that experience. It's all about staying safe. You know, I think they obviously knew that I was in there because of where they knocked. Like, they didn't knock on the, like, on the passenger door, the driver's door. They knocked like by the rear well. So they know, or he knew, that I was living in there. So I feel like I'm being watched, and I just got to be a little bit more careful.
When morning arrived, Lisa stepped outside and noticed footprints pressed into the snow just beside her van. Then she realized something even more unsettling. Her water bottles had been deliberately emptied. It was another sign that someone had been there, close enough to linger, close enough to interfere. As she reflected on the night, one detail stood out above all others. Whoever came to her van knew exactly where she was sleeping. They did not knock on the driver's door or the front of the vehicle. They knocked directly beside her head, on the window where she had been lying. She still could not understand why this person kept returning, circling her van again and again in the darkness. Trusting her instincts, she never opened the door or stepped outside, knowing that sometimes hesitation is the only thing that keeps you safe. She left the secluded area unharmed, but the question stayed with her. What did that person want, and how long had they been watching? In places like that, the danger is not always isolation or animals. Sometimes it is people who are far more frightening. The intentions of that person were never revealed, turning the encounter into a mystery that may never be answered. But the experience left a lasting mark on Lisa. It exposed just how vulnerable she was in that moment, alone and far from help. That night changed her perspective forever, reshaping how she viewed solitude and safety as a